This show is paid for by the campaign to elect Jeff McNeely to NC House.
Good morning, Iredell County. Hey, Representative Jeff McNeely here on this Monday morning. A little gloomy outside, but hopefully we'll be bright and ready to go inside here. Glad to have you listening in this morning. Going to have Insurance Commissioner Mike Causey call in around 11:30 and talk to us and tell us some of the things that his office has done and is doing to help North Carolina, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic. Just to rework some numbers here and look over on COVID-19 for the state, we're now at about 155,000 cases. In the county, we're at 2,300 cases approximately. Our deaths are 2,531 for the state, 23 for Iredell County. It's been that for the last week. There may be an update. Hospital, 898 for the state, 12 for the county. Both of those numbers are down. They're down pretty significantly. The county's almost in half of where it was. Looking at some of the data, Iredell County, we've been blessed, even though we have had 23 deaths, which is tragic. Per capita, we have probably almost, I would say, the lowest or top 5 lowest mortality rates from COVID-19 in the state. So for the number of residents we have in Iredell County, we are doing as good or better job than almost anybody else in the state as far as our mortality levels, our deaths. So that's something that I think is really important, and I'm so glad that Iredell County has taken the steps and we're doing the things we need to do to help control this spread of this virus. Just a few things. If anybody would like to call in between now and 11:30, 704-873-1400. Love to hear from you, see what you got on your mind this morning. There's a whole lot of things going on. We just wrapped up the Democrat National Convention last week, and now we're moving to the Republican National Convention this week. Parts of it are being held in Charlotte, North Carolina. The whole convention was scheduled to be held, and because of the executive orders from the governor, because of COVID-19, the convention basically had to be scaled way back, pretty much just like the Democrat convention was scaled back from being in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, I think it was. So it's a different world. We're seeing things a little different than we usually do. Some of the things I'll bring up to speed or just highlight from the Democrat National Convention last week. As y'all know, Joe Biden, he was the nominee from the Democrat National Convention for president, and Kamala Harris, his running mate vice president. And a lot of different people spoke last week, a lot of celebrities. They usually have a lot of people from Hollywood on their side, seems to be. And so they spoke. One thing I found interesting was, though, yesterday morning, Bernie Sanders, it was on ABC. And, yeah, I don't always just watch Fox, y'all. I do watch some of the other channels for some of the moderates out there, or maybe people a little farther on the left. And I found it unusual that Bernie Sanders basically said, and I'm not going to quote him exact, but they're in the process, that the day after Biden is elected, they would have a talk about the direction of his administration. And so I noticed Bernie's been playing pretty nice. Last year he didn't play so nice, or not last year, excuse me, in 2016, last election, let me put it that way. He didn't play quite as nice when Hillary was nominated. So I found it unusual that he wants to have this talk the day after. I truly believe that a deal has been cut for him to be nice and sort of remain quiet. Haven't heard a lot out of Bernie. It's been pretty slow here lately to allow these things to move forward. And the reason I bring this up, although there were about 2-1 delegates that were for Biden, still quite a few, 1,000 voted, over 1,000, still voted for Bernie Sanders. And the reason I bring this up is Bernie has come out and admitted that he is a socialist. He'll tell you he's a socialist. He's proud of being a socialist. And he has quite a bit of people out there that are following. So I take it that they feel like they're socialist also. And this kind of concerns me, that somebody has risen this far in political power and out tells you that they are a socialist. And I think we've got a good idea of what socialism looks like right now in the United States of America. We've actually been experiencing what it would be like to have government intervention and take away a lot of our freedoms in our life from COVID-19. So I bring all this about just to say, and also Obama was just quoted in the New Yorker magazine. We don't get that a lot maybe down here in the South, but a lot of people look at that in the North. And he said that, that was told the New Yorker pretty much that Biden and Bernie Sanders were very much alike in their ideas. So even President Barack Obama stated that they're very similar. So this kind of bothers me in the fact that somebody that's a declared socialist has this much power and possibly the next administration coming in. I think we should take a serious step back, and I have this great little saying I always tell y'all, think about this, what we're talking about here basically. Once again, like I said, we've seen what it's like to be told by our government what we should do and what we can't do right now. They're using a virus, a pandemic for that. But what if the virus goes away, but the government still decides that we're going to tell you what we think we want you to do? So anybody out there like to call in and talk about this or some other stuff, 704-873-1400. But I just find it a little bit unnerving. The other thing that I found unnerving, too, that's happened here lately is this quandary about the United States Postal Service. I don't believe a whole lot of media anymore, but do we have a caller? Okay. Thought I had somebody ringing in. Don't believe a whole lot about the media, but I do believe. Do we got somebody? Okay. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got here?
This is Deborah.
Hey, Deborah. How are you this morning?
I'm doing just fine, and I know that you are.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to call in about this government.
Yes, ma'am.
And the Postal Service.
Okay.
There's a reason that the Postal Service, the mail-in vote, the election can be stolen on both sides, either sides, the Democrats or Republicans, to start with.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the reason that it's very important that each and every individual, if they have to crawl to the election polls, do whatever they can to get there. Just go to the election place that they hold the election, where you go vote at, and go in there and cast your vote. It's better off to go there yourself in person, wear your mask, social distance, and that will be that. The government, let me touch down on this. They'll tell you anything. Everything's free. They're going to give you everything free. Well, they don't tell you that they're going to run out of money. The government's going to run out of money. And then what are the people to do? We now know that the dinner time stores, as I call it, the shelves are still empty. The food is just gone. Things are gone. You can't find hardly nothing at the stores anymore. By the grace of God, we've got what we need. We don't want to have someone to step in and steal these votes and get the wrong president in office. We need someone that has got a motor on them, like Donald Trump. Like I said, he's doing a great job. It seems like he's doing everyone's job, but not yours. Not Dan Force. I know y'all got it. And I've been praying a prayer about that, as you know. I pray a lot about that COVID virus. I promise you, this is not as serious as they're making it out to be. As you were saying and talking about the statistics, the numbers just a minute ago.
Yes, ma'am.
The number's not as high as it is. People just need to wear their mask and go vote. It's the main thing I'm hoping and praying people will do. And keep them prayers going up to God. Don't stop until that prayer's answered.
Well, and you know something, Deborah, that we all need to get out there and put this out, that if you're not afraid to get in your car you can drive to the voting place and request curbside voting, and they will come out and they will bring you a ballot. You give them your name, and they will bring you a ballot. Make sure that you're a registered voter, and you can do it in your car and give it back to them, and you don't have to get out. They'll do this all through early voting. They'll do it on Election Day, and I'm thinking they're going to really be ramped up, ready for this, because I think a lot of people are maybe going to do this. And also, I'll tell everybody, if you're afraid that your ballot may not get to the election board through the mail, that you can request an early ballot, a mail-in ballot, take it, fill it out, and take it back and hand it to them at the Board of Election, and they will take it and they will count it. So you don't even have to use the Postal Service if you choose to do this. So as I tell a lot of people, if you're not afraid to get in your car, then you shouldn't be afraid to vote.
Exactly. All they got to do, I've heard so many stories of this, that their vote wasn't even counted. They voted, and it turned out that they got Democrat. They was voting Republican. They got Democrat ballots, and I heard a lot of these stories to the point of the best way to do this, just go vote. Just go vote, and do keep praying. I don't want to tie the line up for someone else that may want to call in and talk to you. But at the same time, I know how important this election is.
That's very
important. It's one like no other.
Yes, ma'am.
And we've got a president that has worked so hard to drive this economy to the highest point he could, and then to collapse it the way it's been collapsed. We've got a lot of problems that needs to get fixed.
Yes.
And everyone must do their part. And I pray that they will.
I do too.
Okay.
I do too.
Mr. McNeely, I thank you for taking my call, and have a great day. And
You
God
too.
bless.
Good talking to you, Deborah. You take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Who we got, Nikki? We got somebody. Hey, Representative Jeff McNeely here. Who we got?
Good morning, sir. My name is Joyce. I'm very mad about Obama and Joe Biden.
Me too. But I'm trying to keep my cool on the radio, you know.
Listen, honey, back when my husband was working, Joe Biden and Obama sent his job to China, and Obama penalized me for the rest of my life. It went up on taxes, and I'm very mad at them. And I don't care nothing about Bernie Sanders. Donald Trump has been good to me. He has sent me 3 8-10 by pictures of him. Wanda sent me a 8-10 by pictures, and sent me about 15 letters.
Well, there you go.
And I'm tired of them talking about him.
Well, you know what? He's doing everything he can for America. That's what I know.
Yes.
He's doing everything he can for America. All
He's
right.
not a dangerous man, honey.
That's right. That's right.
It makes me mad. And I can't wait till the Republican convention comes on. I didn't watch the Democrat.
Well, you tune in the next couple of nights, because it's going to be good all the way to Thursday night when he accepts the nomination. So you tune in, pay attention. There's going to be a lot of good things told about.
What time does it come on and what day?
It starts tonight. I think some of the channels you'll be able to get it on about 8 o'clock. I know they're going to go live at 10 o'clock. So they're not showing the whole convention, but they are showing the highlights at 10. So you'll have to check through your channels and see if you can find it. I think Fox is probably going to have more coverage on the Republican than anybody.
I got something else to tell you.
Yes, ma'am.
Me and my husband was struggling because they let me go on my job.
Yes, ma'am.
We were struggling. We almost lost our home because of them. But, you know, God got us through this.
Well, he will every time if you put your faith in him.
Everybody out there to know what they did.
Well, you keep telling them, and I will too. I appreciate you calling in, Miss Joyce. Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
All right, you have a good day. See you. So we got a little bit of a break. We got one more. Yeah, here we go. We're gonna take this one. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got here?
Hey, Jeff, I always say my name, but my son got laid off. This will be the 4th week from a company.
Yes,
and
sir.
He's went online and filed, and it keeps saying it's pending, and he's done drawn from them like 4 months ago. Okay. And I would think the state has it straightened out by now.
You know, I wish. Excuse me for laughing. Not laughing at your situation. I'm laughing at the statement you said. You would think you would think that the governor could get this figured out in this long a time, but we still have a lot of people that can't get on unemployment. And I'll tell you what. I do this about every show. I'll give out my email address. This is my legislative. Jeffrey JEFFREY McNeely, which is McNeely at ncleg.net. And if you'll send us if you'll get him to send us an email with his address and the last four of his Social Security, we will see if we can help find out why it's pending. I'll get my lady Barb Gasser, who was my legislative assistant. She's done a wonderful job of helping people, and I've been there too, but she's done a lot of the yeoman work in this. So we'll be glad to see what we can do for you from our office.
I appreciate it, neighbor. So you have a good day. Appreciate all you've done.
Have him send us an email, and we'll see if we can find out what's happening with his claim.
All right. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. We got somebody else. We got a little bit of a break. All right. Call in if you want to talk. Like I said, about 11:30, we're going to have Commissioner Mike Causey, insurance commissioner, on. Getting back to the U.S. Postal Service, one of the few media outlets that I really listen to, believe, and read and understand is the Wall Street Journal. And the thing I like about the Wall Street Journal is I've always found them to be fairly accurate in the fact that they are reporting from a capitalist point of view, which is what our economic system is. We're capitalist. And they've always been about how the money moves, where the money comes from, what moves it, what makes money move. So it's always been interesting to me. I always like their viewpoint. And they had a great article the other day which basically said that this United States Postal Service crisis is not a crisis at all. Once again, we're in crisis mode. If you continually watch what the Democratic Party has put out on the national level, it's been one crisis after another, from Russian collusion to impeachment to just on and on and on and on. And their job, and then the rioting that they've set back in pretty much all the Democratic cities, have watched and let it happen, that they're in play, is to continue chaos. And hopefully that American will just get tired of the chaos and think that change is going to give you better chaos or less chaos, I guess maybe we should say. That's kind of the overall plan. And so ever since the impeachment failed, it's been wide open in this situation. And once again, bound and determined to try to use the postal system as saying how folks, let me tell you, the postal system hasn't been able to even break even, which is the option that it's supposed to do. It's not really to make money. It's to break even, but yet get us our letters, our mail back and forth in a timely manner. And we have continued to not do that. And a lot of it is because of pensions that they funded that has to come through the Postal Service. They have to basically pay their own pension, show how they're profitable in that way, or not profitable, but break even in that way. And so this has all been kind of concocted, and they're using this as leverage. Nancy Pelosi is using this for leverage in the next stimulus package. And so she's trying to get everybody in an uproar over the postal system. So when they tie that in with a whole lot of other stuff, one of the things they've also asked for basically in this next stimulus package is stimulus money for illegal immigrants, for people that are here that are not U.S. citizens. Now, I have a real problem with this because I truly believe that for you to receive money from our federal government, that you need to be a United States citizen. And one thing I've learned, and I think I've talked about this on a couple of different shows. We got a caller? Yes. Yeah, let me take a call then. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
Jeff, this is Mike Causey.
Hey, Mike. Hey, good to hear from you. How are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm down in Onslow County this morning.
Well, you are moving all over. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have our Commissioner of Insurance, Mike Causey, on the phone with me this morning, and I'm so glad. Mike was in Iredell last week, and I got a chance to go to fire departments with him and also eat some lunch, and we talked and enjoyed it immensely, Mike. I think a lot of people don't really know a whole lot about what the Commissioner of Insurance and the Department of Insurance really does in our state. maybe you tell us a little bit about some of the daily activities, some of the things that y'all do to help make North Carolina a better place to live.
Yes, I will. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate the opportunity to be on your show. I'll tell you, when I was campaigning back in 2016, running for this office, I'd tell people, hi, I'm Mike Causey. I'm running for State Insurance Commissioner. And you would be surprised at what people would say. They'd say, well, what kind of insurance do y'all sell? And I said, well, they don't sell insurance. They regulate insurance. So that's sort of where we are. And so many people don't even realize insurance commissioner is an elected office. I'm the 11th insurance commissioner in the history of North Carolina. And the department started in 1899, and prior to that, it was under the Secretary of State. But I'm the first non-attorney insurance commissioner ever elected.
I think that's a good thing. I think that's a really good thing. Go ahead.
And also the first Republican insurance commissioner ever elected.
Really?
And so we've done a lot to cut the red tape and streamline the department, make it more user-friendly, and I hear good positive comments about that all the time. But going back to your question, not many people realize the insurance commissioner is also the state fire marshal. So we're over fire departments and rescue squads and firefighter certification, fire department inspections, and a whole host of things. And this is trivia, but North Carolina has more firefighter certifications than any other agency, than any other state or any other agency except for the Department of Defense.
Really? Wow.
And so that's a big deal. We've worked with our high schools to get junior firefighter programs implemented. The community colleges do a great job with firefighter training. And our fire departments are really struggling in a lot of areas to recruit volunteers and to retain those volunteers. Yeah. So that was why we were in Iredell County last week, as you know. We also have law enforcement, state police officers that have arrest powers in all 100 counties. Not many people know this, but we have sworn law enforcement officers that primarily do insurance fraud investigations and arrest, arson investigations. And we also have attorneys that are prosecutors that can go into the courtroom and prosecute these cases, working with the district attorneys around the state. We've doubled the number of arrests for insurance fraud during the past 4 years. And there's one case that your listeners may want to look up. It was an insurance fraud case that a tip that came into us that turned into a first-degree murder case.
Wow.
And it's called the Eyedrop murder case out of Gaston County. And it hasn't gone
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, that's where the wife, I think, to try to do away with the husband, wasn't it? Or was it the other way around?
That happened in South Carolina. The case in North Carolina was the husband. The woman in South Carolina did kill her husband. Yeah. But this was a husband that killed his wife. Okay. That's what he's charged with, using eye drops.
Yep. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
So, yeah, who would think that the North Carolina Department of Insurance would be involved in a first-degree murder case?
Exactly.
That's what happened. We also regulate bail bondsmen. How many people know that? And that includes surety bondsmen. There are over 2,000 bail bondsmen in this state. We also regulate collection agencies. We're the chief building inspector for the state. We're over engineering codes, the State Building Code Council, and this is very important because any county that wants to build a school, a jail, or any public building, before construction can begin, those plans have to be approved by our department. And so there again, we're here to help. We work with 222 building inspection jurisdictions across the state. We regulate the small loan companies, the premium finance companies, household finance companies. We regulate all kinds of insurance. That's the agents, the companies, the policies. And there's so many things, Jeff, it would take me a half a day to give it all to you. But
I know.
But we have a seniors health insurance information program that helps seniors with health insurance and Medicare, and Safe Kids North Carolina, which helps protect children and teaches parents how to properly fit child safety seats, and just a number of other programs. All of this is on our website, ncdoi.gov or ncdoi.com. I also oversee 23 state boards and commissions. So I tell people if they'd like to serve on a state board, let me know.
Yeah.
But my main message, Jeff, is if you've got a problem with an insurance company or insurance agent or just having a dispute with a claim, don't fight it yourself. Give us a call. We have a toll-free number. It's on that website, but it's 855-408-1212. And last year we helped over 250,000 people that had questions or problems with claims or that type thing. So the last thing I'll mention is we have a service. It's a free service. If somebody dies, a family member can send us the information, and we can run a national database search to see if that person had any life insurance. And last year we found over $40 million for people in North Carolina that didn't know they had insurance. So that's a big help to folks.
Oh, yeah.
So
$40 million, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money, Commissioner Causey.
Well, in 1 month this year, we found $6 million in just 1 month. And since we started the program, we've totaled over $100 million that we've found for residents. So it's worth looking at. Even if you get nothing, it doesn't cost anything. But a lot of times people have several $1,000s in old policies that they didn't even know.
And I know one of the things y'all do too is kind of set the guidelines for what, like let's say on car insurance, as far as minimums and stuff like that you got to have for your policy. I know that there's some policies out there. It seems like now that they've allowed some of the I guess the minimums for the uninsured motorist and all of they've allowed those numbers to kind of creep down. Is that something y'all have done, or is just the insurance companies acting and y'all got to watch them?
No, that's not anything. That's done by the state legislature. So,
so I'm guilty then. I got to take a look at myself. So
and so actually, there's a number of states that have lower minimums than we do, but I would encourage everybody on your automobile insurance to get as high limits as you can, because our minimum limits, in my opinion, are way too low to cover a major wreck. But that's what the legislature said, and to change that, we'd have to go through legislation.
That may be something we look at, because I've got one of the guys that work for me, his wife was involved in a wreck, and I think the other guy had like $25,000, and it's not going to cover. It totaled their car. It's not going to cover, so they're in a mess. So this may be something that me and my people over in the legislature, we need to take a look at and make sure that we're not getting too much cut rate insurance. I think one thing that our listeners need to know about you, Mike, that I think is important, because you kind of mentioned it, saying you're the first commissioner that's not a lawyer. You actually were an insurance agent, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't you have an insurance agency? So
yeah, I have 25 years in the insurance industry. Started in Charlotte with MetLife, Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, Life Accident Health. So, I know what agents go through. I know that what they have to put up with, and I know they serve an important role in making sure people are properly covered for their homes, cars, and life and health.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's just real critical to me, because I know your opponent, who was at the Commission of Insurance, as a lawyer, and basically has either done law and more really politician all of his life instead of real life experience. And being a business owner and now being a legislator, I think we need people in there that have had real business experience, real life experience outside of just politics all their life. And I think that's what you bring to the table as being our insurance committee. You know insurance. You're not a lawyer trying to go after somebody. You know insurance and understand how insurance should work.
Well, I appreciate that, Jeff. And I look at my job and I love my job. I love the opportunity to get around and meet people all across the state. But, my message when I took office is to make the department more user-friendly. Let's see what we can do to help people, not cause them frustrations or make them jump through more hoops. Let's cut the red tape, streamline the department, and I believe I've done that to make it more user-friendly. And I will have one recommendation on insurance policies, though, is replacement coverage. I would encourage everybody to get in touch with your insurance agent and make sure you have replacement value coverage on your automobiles and your homeowner's policy, because when you ever do have a claim, that really pays off in a big way.
Yeah, because next thing you know, everything gets prorated. And I've often seen it. Matter of fact, right now, myself, I think I might have mentioned to this other day, we had a really bad fire at our business at G&M Milling, and not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, and we're still not up and going. My electricians have been there working really hard, and I appreciate the Harringtons from up in Taylorsville working. But, if you're not covered well, the tragedy may be after the fire. Is
right.
And I've talked to my insurance agents, and I feel pretty good. I think we're going to be fine on that part, just trying to get back up and get going. But it's tough. You go through a traumatic experience, and then the next thing you know, you're going through another traumatic experience with your insurance company, because things weren't just like you remembered it. I could have sworn we talked about this.
Yeah, it can be a nightmare. Now, what does it look like on your business? Does it look like the milling company will be up and running soon?
I'm hoping I'm going to hear noises out of it today. I pray I do. I pray I hear some kind of racket. It's awful quiet there, and usually it's really loud. So I'm praying we're going to hear something. I think we will. So we'll see how that goes. As soon as I get done my radio show, I've been hustling right back there and trying to get things going and keep it rolling. So we're limping along, but we can't make like we usually do. But I'm just one of many people out there that are affected. And one thing now I saw here too that I think your department's gonna come into play, and it goes back to where I've talked about some of the liberal judges. I saw where our North Carolina Supreme Court had a ruling on a COVID case with Wake Medical, saying that they didn't do their job and this and that. I'm sure with what happened from that court case, that's gonna really step up people trying to file lawsuits on malpractice from COVID, which I think is horrible, because nobody really knows what this is. So I'm sure y'all are going to be in there probably setting some guidelines before it's over with. Probably us in the legislature will have to give them to you, and y'all will have to enforce them. But we've got to do some stuff, because this is not like you messed up a knee replacement. This is a virus that we know very little about. So what do you think? You see this coming, that y'all are going to have to do a lot of refereeing probably in this if we give you the right tools?
Well, we've worked closely with the insurance industry. When we first heard about coronavirus, I got with the health insurers, asked them to get with the medical providers and make sure that we get this telehealth covered for insurance, because people were so afraid to go anywhere. They didn't want to go for a doctor visit, office visit. And I'm happy to say that happened very early on. And then later, when so many people were laid off from their jobs, losing their jobs, that kind of thing, I issued a mandate that insurance companies could not cancel a policy for non-payment for somebody's financial hardship, the people that were laid off. So the insurance industry has cooperated on that. I couldn't mandate it, but I asked the insurance companies if they could pass along any savings to the consumer, because people were driving less, they had fewer wrecks, and it looked to me like the insurance companies were making a better profit. So most of these insurance companies did do that. They did pass along savings to policyholders in the form of a dividend check or reduced premiums or something like that.
Well, that's a silver lining. I did get a check from my where we have a lot of our vehicles. I did get that, and so I didn't even really put two and two together. I don't think they actually told me. They just said that that the premiums they've been lowered some. So I did get a check. Put a plug in for, I guess, Farm Bureau, because that's who sent it to me.
I guess I could have asked them to put my name on it, but I didn't do that.
You should have pulled that. That's a good political move there. Should have. But hey, tell me before you get gone, just real quick. I know I've drug you around here a little bit this morning. We've got something in the state of North Carolina called the Rate Bureau. What is the Rate Bureau, and why do we have it? Is there another state that has it? I don't think there is.
Well, we have a unique situation in North Carolina, and the Rate Bureau is a creature of the legislature. It was set up very particular. It's set up by the North Carolina General Assembly, and they set the rates. They represent the insurance industry, and all I can do as commissioner is say yes or no.
Yeah.
So they serve a very, very valuable purpose, but we've done a lot of things to change, to make our insurance system more upgraded than where it was. It's not as antiquated as it was a few years ago. So insurance companies have more flexibility now than they once had. But I do not set rates as commissioner, but I can approve rates. And I'll tell you, every request I've received since I've been commissioner for a rate increase, I've rejected. I've said no. And now, according to state law, all I can do is set a court date, a hearing date, and if we move toward that hearing date, if the companies want to come back and talk to me and negotiate, we can negotiate. And I've done that a couple of times and saved the consumers over $100 million just on homeowner, what was proposed on homeowners rates. So I've done a good job in pushing back on Rate Bureau requests and protecting consumers. And I'd like the opportunity to keep doing that for a few more years. So I just say that's separate from my job as commissioner, but I would encourage people to go to the campaign website if they want to know more about that. It's my name with NC at the end of it. So MikeCauseyNC.com will get you to my campaign site, and I encourage people to go there and check it out.
Well, Mike, it sounds like we can't afford to not let you get elected. I mean, between $100 million in savings on policies and then $40 million that we've collected over on life insurance, I don't think the state of North Carolina can afford to have nobody but you as as insurance commissioner. To me, what do you think on that? Sounds like
they've got just two choices come November, so I asked them to make the right choice.
That's what I was going to say. There's a right one and a wrong one. It sounds like Mike Causey is the right one. Well, Mike, is there anything else you'd like to say, before you close out today? Is there anything you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, I want to thank all your listeners, and thank you for what you do. I just want to take a minute to thank all of our health care workers that are out there on the front lines during this pandemic, and even the people that work at the grocery stores and retail stores for all they have to put up with today. I was in a belt department store the other day, and one of the employees was telling me how short-handed they are because they can only allow so many employees to work in the store and each employee has to work 32 hours. So we don't always think about the hardships of people that are in retail or grocery stores, but especially our first responders, our firefighters and law enforcement. They have done double and triple duty during this pandemic. Their families have sacrificed and all of that just to keep us safe. So, that's how I want to close, is thanking everybody and our first responders for what they do, and encourage people to stay safe. And, I think we're making good progress. Our numbers are getting better every week. And I'm hoping we've turned the corner on this pandemic, but we can't let up.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we looks like we're going, so we got to keep going. So, well, Mike, I do appreciate you calling into the show and enlightening us and telling us a little bit about what the North Carolina Insurance Commission does for us and all that you've done for us. And like I said, folks out there, I want you to remember when it comes, I know a lot of people don't understand maybe, but there is actually a commissioner that runs our insurance department here in North Carolina and that oversees insurance and how it's delegated out to you when you go to buy. They're the ones that kind of make sure things are done right. And I think you need to make sure that you elect Mike Causey. So put a check beside his name. I think he's done a great job for us these last 4 years, and I know he'll do a great job going forward. So, Mike, I appreciate you calling in, and thank you so much for what you do. Thank you so much for what you do.
And if they want more information on the department, just everybody go to ncdoi.gov or ncdoi.com, and we're here to help. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you. All right, you take care. Okay. See you. All right. Nikita, we got a caller still? Yeah, we're going to take another call here. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
Melissa.
Hey, Melissa.
How are you?
I'm good. I hope you're well, ma'am.
I'm good. I don't want to discuss really Trump so much as I did some of the things that I heard you talking about earlier when you were talking about Bernie.
Yes, ma'am.
And the fear of socialism. First off, Bernie did win quite a few states.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did. So the DNC actually was the one that was not playing fair. It wasn't Bernie. But the socialism, the dirty word socialism, there are so many programs in this country that we all benefit from that are considered socialist programs. While I was sitting listening to Mike Causey, I started just writing things down that are federally funded and get money, because that's all socialism really means. That's our military, our roads, our garbage pickup, our landfill, police and fire department, postal service, student loans, grants, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, public schools. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And these are social programs. Socialism is not necessarily a dirty word like everybody in the conservative side wants to make it. I myself consider myself a moderate, but I'm leaning more left because of things like this. And also about the mask. That's not a violation of our constitutional rights. The masks are simply about consideration for other people. The masks are to be worn to help decrease transmission of this disease, which is deadly. For, 30% of the people that do contract this virus are very sick, and about 3% of those do die. I just spent half the month of July in the hospital because of it, and I'm a nurse. So, it's not like it's taking away your constitutional rights to wear a mask. It's just about simple consideration for other people. And lastly, absentee voting. That has been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. It started first with people in the military, and then it transitioned into all 50 states now. I know like 16 states still require an excuse for absentee voting, but absentee voting is not some new, radical theory of people coming in to not vote. I mean, I don't understand why that's such a big deal as well. I mean, except for the right versus left side. I really don't understand it. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Well, before you leave, I would like to talk a little bit more about what is more of this, because they appear to be socialist programs. It's not really socialism to a point. You understand, military, the only socialist program that you really talked about that are true are Medicaid and Medicare. those are truly socialist programs that our government does enact, and they were brought about in the 1960s, basically. Actually, I think Medicare was in the late 50s, but into the 60s with the Medicaid, and that's basically helping the poor people in poverty level with medical. So what you're doing is really a redistributing of wealth there. But as far as our school system and our Constitution, basically it talked about, especially our state Constitution, that it's guaranteed that you have an education. So we have a public education because of the constitutional rules. We have a military to defend us. But as far as those are being socialist to a point where we're changing money from one to the other, we're not. They provide a service much like our police provide a service. Now, people in the medical field provide a service also, like sounds like you are, but you are compensated at whatever rate you choose to accept through whether it be individuals paying you back or whether it be the government paying you back on a certain different rate. There's a lot of difference. Socialism in itself, though, basically is saying that we're going to take money from one sect and we're going to give it to another so we can even the playing field.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's Democrat, but we use democratic. That's the key word right there. We're not trying to be Venezuela or the USSR. He's not trying to get us back to that. I mean, he was never trying to get us back to that. Bernie, I know, is uber left on some things, and it's polarizing, and I mean, I get it, especially because of where I live. I understand. But, you know, he really is about the greater good for the country and the people of this country. And, I mean, I just started naming things, but I know of all the socialized programs in this country, and they're reallocating our tax money. You know, our military, you can say it's not socialism or whatever, but it really is. It's funded completely by the federal government.
Do you think the money is being spent wisely that's in all these social programs?
Oh, God, no. God,
okay,
no.
all right. Well,
God knows.
Then that's what's going to happen with socialism. It will become worse. I mean, when you're talking $30 trillion to provide health, the one single payer health plan that he's talking about, how in the world can we afford that?
How does every other civilized country in the world manage it except for us? And and especially in Europe, when they started their socialized medicine programs after World War II, based on what FDR was writing for the Second Bill of Rights for humans in this country, for American citizens, and then he died. He was working on a second Bill of Rights for the people. You know, FDR started our national for God's sakes, the Blue Ridge Parkway. You know, that was a socialized program back in the day to get people off the welfare, to get people out of the depression, to get people back to work. No, I'm not saying that the government has used the money correctly. They steal from socialized programs now, i.e. Medicare, Medicaid, to pay for $500 staplers at the Pentagon. So I know that's wrong, but, you know, the whole system is corrupt. The whole system could do better. But, I mean, I don't know how it's supposed to change except with people like you that are elected, you know. But if you keep pandering things that aren't necessarily true and making it sound like some big evil, I mean, we need some democratic socialism in this country. We do. Or we couldn't function.
Well, I don't think your term of socialism and mine are the same then.
They're not.
So that's where I guess we'll fundamentally agree to disagree, because I believe what happens with socialism is you basically when you leave a capitalistic society like we have and go to a socialist society like we're talking about, in my mind, what we've done basically is we've taken the people that are trying to overachieve, the ones that are willing to put in forth the extra effort, and we have basically demoralized them to the point where they will not do that anymore.
But this is a capitalist nation, and in America, you're still going to be able to make your millions and billions of dollars, get a giant tax cut, pay your employees barely enough to survive on while they sail around in their yachts to escape any kind of guilt that might inconvenience them, these big CEOs and big insurance corporation giants that, you know, the CEOs of those. Don't freak out. Capitalism is not going anywhere in America. That's what we were based on. I mean, that's what we are. We are a capitalist nation. But with all that wealth, it really should be redistributed. I mean, why does Jeff Bezos he's getting ready to be the first trillionaire. Why can't he be taxed at a much higher rate and give back to the people in this country, especially what's been going on through COVID? I mean, we've just made him a trillionaire at this point because we've all been having to stay home shopping, which has helped save the United States Postal Service during COVID because so many of us are using the post office right now. after that's over with, after COVID's over with, we don't really know what's going to happen with the Postal Service. But that's a whole other discussion. So I'm not going to take all your time.
That's fine.
I just wanted to call you and say that there are other people out here that do pay attention and listen. And
hey, I'm glad you do. I enjoy a different viewpoint completely. I think that's what makes America great. If everybody thought like me, we'd get a lot of crap done, but it may not be in the right direction. So
yeah, and I'm not a big Trump proponent at all. But there's even been good things he's done. I can say that, but you never hear one good thing. I.e. when he was signing the bill the other day, or the executive order to lower prescription prices on EpiPens and insulin. I mean, that's a great freaking thing. And all of my uber left friends are like, oh, my God, how can you support him? Because it's about us. It's about America. It's about what's best for us. That's how I can support what he just done. That's how everybody really should be. Stop being so right, left, right, left, right, left. I mean, I keep hearing all this crap about Obama, who's not our president anymore, hasn't been for almost 4 years now. I hear all this garbage about Hillary, who I wasn't even a fan of, but she never was president. But they keep getting thrown up and thrown up and thrown up and things. Trump's the president now. They're part of the past. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why it keeps happening, but anyway, I'm going to go. I think my mom's listening. Hi, Mom. And I'm
we're glad to have you call in. Thank you, Melissa.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
No, bye. We got anybody else? Got one more. I can take one more. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. How are you?
Oh, my goodness. I had to call back in. This is Deborah.
She got you fired up, did she, Deborah?
Oh, Lord. Listen, those people have changed. The Democrats have changed. They're wanting to knock at your door, come in your home, invade your lives. She is badly mistaken. On this socialism, that's what they're about. Wow. And they're for the illegal immigrants. They're not for the American people.
I think the problem, she says, is we've already got some things that are socialistic. Well, yes and no. The idea is, though, once you slide down that slippery slope of socialism, the end is not good. It never is. And there's an old saying, socialism works fine till you run out of the other person's money. And that's the beauty of it. I found a
threat with Michelle Obama saying, you don't think it could get any worse. It can get worse. That sounded like a threat to our country there.
Well,
like I said, seen that on TV.
We lose freedoms every day.
We sure do.
And Bernie Sanders and people that think like Bernie Sanders scare me to death, because that's not the America I'm looking for.
That's not mine either, and no one else needs that part of America. They're not for us, we, the people of America. They're for the illegal immigrants that come in this country the wrong way. Well, that woman did get me fired up, but she's got her way of thinking, and we've got our way of thinking, and God's army is rising up. They like it or they don't. We don't care.
Well, hey, Deborah, I appreciate you calling in. You stay fired up till November the 3rd. We need you.
No, we got it. Thank you for taking my call again. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Got one more. Hey, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got?
If an illegal immigrant is working and paying taxes, then they should get a stimulus.
Really? All right.
Yes.
And how do we go about figuring out where they're at and how to get the stimulus money to them?
They're working.
Okay. Well, if they're working and paying taxes, you have to have a Social Security number.
Yes.
So
they do.
They've
been here for years.
To have a Social Security number, you have to be a U.S. citizen.
I have to have everyone up and send them home. And let me say that I agree with the lady who talked before the last woman. My kids are paying $1,200 a month for insurance. It covers very little. When Trump decided that he would just say, hey, you don't have to buy insurance anymore, that messed the whole system up.
Yeah. Ma'am, I hate to do this, but I'm running out of time. But call in next Monday and we'll talk some more, okay?
And look up QAnon.
Oh, I know all about that. I don't believe in that either. I don't believe in the conspiracy.
Well, Trump does, and he repeats from them.
All right. I've got to go. I got to do my prayer. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, real quick, dear Heavenly Father, look after us. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate everything you do. I'll be on here next Monday. Going to have a surprise guest. It should be really good, I pray. So y'all take care. All right. We'll see you later. Bye.